and Attorney Corsini here. Okay, we have several presentations tonight. I'm going to start off by just giving a little background here. What we did is that we started this Pillars of Middlesex because for a few years nothing's been happening, which means that there's a lot of people coming, going, they're doing an awful lot for the town. And one of the things that always struck me was like you have a lot of people that do a lot of things for the town for many years. I'm not talking 2 or 3, I'm talking 40, 30, 40, and guess what? They would leave, not so much as a thank you, not so much as a goodbye, you're just gone. Well, you know what? And it was unfortunate that it came down to that, and I get it, that, you know, this is the way that things were with COVID and all the rest of that. But, you know, one of the things that we talked about was it was time to bring it back. And we were trying to think about what's the best way to do this. Because I know they used to do the medals and stuff like that, and there's some guys who tell me they had 12 of them, you know? So it's like, okay. But, you know, what we really thought about was putting up the Pillars of Middlesex. And what that means to me is these are people that are basically part of the foundation of what makes Middlesex the great town that it is. And when we came around to this, and it's our intent to do this every second meeting of the month, from now till we run out of people, but we're 50,000. We'll eventually come around to that. But, you know, we really, the good part is we really didn't have to go too far to think about who are the first 2 recipients of the Pillars of Middlesex Award. And it's my distinct honor tonight to have the Furmans come up here and receive the first Pillars of Middlesex Award. And I would also like to invite Council President Michael Conahan to come down, because he's the one that gets to read the proclamation and hand you the prize. Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah, I guess we got people ready to take some pictures, so we'll run over there.
All right,
Yeah, you like that? Yeah.
Look over here.
Yeah, you only have to put your hand on the Bible, Mike. Let's go. Stand there.
You've been through this. Right. Okay, John Furman, former mayor, my friend. Pillars of Middlesex. Governing body of the Borough of Middlesex recognizes that in order for a city to thrive and succeed, they must rely on the service and support of its residents. And whereas with history, so many of our residents and the borough make them the pillars.
If anybody calls now, I can't get to them to tell them.
And whereas it is in the spirit, the mayor
but you know, they're in control of this
who have made exceptional contributions to the borough of Middlesex. And whereas John Furman has been a resident of Middlesex Borough for over 60 years and has dedicated his life to the betterment of Middlesex Borough by serving in numerous capacities. And whereas John Furman served on the Borough Council for 9 years, serving as council president twice, and was appointed mayor in 2009, for which he rose to the occasion by providing the stability to the municipality needed after the unforeseen resignation of your predecessor. And whereas John Furman has been an active member and chaired various committees throughout his long-standing residency within the borough, which included chairing the committee that secured a $7 million grant for the borough's 86-unit senior housing complex, Watchung Terrace, in addition to helping the borough receive $300,000 annually to subsidize rents for extremely low-income residents. Whereas, in addition to volunteering over 12 years on the Zoning Board of Adjustment, several of which as chairman, along with his participation as a member of the Planning Board for 3 years, John was an active member of the Parks and Field Development Committee, the local JCs, for which he was president from 1968 to 69. He was a very prominent member of the Democratic Party by serving on various campaign committees and as the 4th District Committeeman throughout the years. Whereas John Furman has aided local organizations such as our American Legion John Lupo Memorial Post 306 with their annual Memorial Day Parade, as well as helping to generate funds for the OLMP CYO with the development of the weekly Sunday newspaper stand. And whereas John Furman has displayed exemplary service and dedication to the municipality by integrating himself within the borough as an integral part of the community, and now therefore Jack Mikolajczyk, Mayor of the Borough of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, along with the Borough Council, and on behalf of the residents of Middlesex, wish to thank John Furman for all his dedication, sacrifice, and labor to our community. Okay, one more, John's better half, and the reason that we have a department for senior services and disabled services, Sheila Furman. Whereas the governing body of the Borough of Middlesex recognizes that in order for a community to thrive and succeed, they must rely on the service and support of its residents, and whereas the wisdom, history, commitment, and passion that so many of our residents exhibit and extend to their neighbors in the borough make them the pillars of our community, and whereas it is in the spirit that Mayor Mikolajczyk would like to honor and recognize individuals throughout the community whom have made exceptional contributions to the borough. Whereas Sheila Furman has exemplified her passion and devotion to the borough by serving in numerous capacities over the years, such as 9 years on the Zoning Board of Adjustment, 7 years on the Planning Board, and 6 years on the Board of Health throughout her residency. And whereas Sheila began volunteering for the Seniors Department in 1992 and eventually became a borough employee, and helped establish the current Office of Aging and Senior Services. Whereas not only does Sheila support municipal entities, but local associations such as the Feeding Hands Food Pantry, the Blue Jay Booster Club, in which she was a founding member in 1976, Board of Education member, including 6 years as Vice President. She served terms as Voter Service Chair, President and Vice President to the League of Women Voters, and she also edited This is Middlesex, a Know Your Town book. Whereas Sheila Furman has been an essential member of the Friends of the Middlesex Library, chaired the Cultural Committee within the CYO Adult Advisory Board, was a committee woman for the Democratic County Organization, and educated the minds of our youth by teaching CCD at a high school level. Sheila Furman supported the neighborhood Girl Scouts by undertaking leadership roles for the cadets, the Brownies, the junior troops, in addition to becoming the referral and recruitment chairperson within the organization. And whereas Sheila Furman, through the years, has exhibited praiseworthy service and commitment to the borough by incorporating herself as a vibrant part of the community. And now, therefore, Jack Mikolajczyk, Mayor of the Borough of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, along with the Borough Council, and on behalf of the residents of Middlesex, wish to thank Sheila Furman for all of her dedication, sacrifice, and labor to our community.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. Volunteering is really important because the volunteers of our community are the people that make the community go. These folks here are all volunteers, and there are board of directors, and they come up with ideas, and they pass them on to the staff, and the staff makes sure that when these ideas are put in place, that they're within the parameters of the state protocols. These same volunteers, this board of directors, appoints commissions and appoints committees. And it's very important for the body politic, members of the town to find out and look into serving on these committees and consider what their talents and how they can best be used on the various committees and commissions. Commissions, by the way, can pass ordinances, so they're super important. And I look forward to the results of our revised environmental commission. I think that's wonderful. It really is. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of some folks here, members of my family, son Matthew, daughter-in-law Rochelle, my daughter May, my son-in-law Dennis, Patrick,
Gregory.
Oh, Greg. I didn't say it. You know, it's in the DNA, the public service. My grandfather was 30 years the assistant controller of the city of Elizabeth, and my father was a municipal engineer in many Union County communities. And I remember I started working at Carteret Savings, and there was a very stern lady who ran the servicing department in the mortgage area. If you ever want a stern lady, get the gal that runs the servicing department, the mortgage company. So it turns out that we were having a conversation, and she said, she's from Roselle Park. And Roselle Park had flooding problems like Middlesex Borough. And I said, oh, my dad's the engineer in Roselle Park. And she says, I know. So you can't keep everybody happy. At any rate, I continue to have for years that the public service is a high calling and a noble pursuit. And one of the reasons, probably the main reason, is because those of us who get involved in that are given the responsibility of honoring and keeping public trust. And that's special. And so is that book. Thank you very much.
The one thing that's amazing is because I'm absolutely feel well.
Dad, turn off the speaker, the microphone.
Oh, I could probably yell out again.
It should be on.
Point it right at
It's wonderful to see so many people that we have made close friends with over a period of 60 years. Like, we will be 60 years here in September.
Wow.
Yeah. And we moved here and we attended, I'll tell you just the personal side. He knows all the official things. We moved here, we planned on living here until maybe 5 years. And we were at the point then of expecting our daughter May. And we thought, well, we're going to have 2 boys and 2 girls, and we happen to have 2 empty bedrooms, so that'll be fine. And it worked out that way. And they grew and they grew and they grew. And the first one went to kindergarten the day after we came here. And I discovered that children are friends then. If your kids know some kids, you soon know some parents. And that is a wonderful way of making friends. And then the friends invite you to go to the PTA, and they invite you to go to other occasions, and you make more good friends. Because when we moved in here, we didn't know soul one. Our father, engineer John Stark, he met the DPW, we got that engineer, civil engineer. He wanted to get down to the garage and find out how well the streets worked and the sewers. I wanted to know if there was a climbing tree. John went and kicked the bird. So that was our beginning. We have found a great joy in volunteering. There may be nothing better in the world, and there is nothing that a town doesn't need that someone can do. I look around here and I'm speaking to the choir. All of you have contributed so much to this community that any one of you could be standing up here. I'm looking at an audience of pillars of our community, and I thank you for that. I had so much fun. You know, they never say, well, we'll think about hiring you. If you say, I'll volunteer, they're so happy they accept you. And it's really hard to get fired. Doesn't matter what party you are, you know, they're not going to fire you unless you do something dreadful. I thank the mayor and for their kind words. I thank all of the council people for electing us. And I would like all of you, I wasn't going to say anything political, but I would like all of you to see that we are minorities. We're not picking people that, you know, are in our party or not that we're special. But we are known to be Democrats. We're looking at a very dear friend who was a Republican candidate for office this year. And that's the nice thing about living in a small town. We know just about everybody. We help each other. And the one thing I want to say about growing up here, I didn't grow up here, but all of our children's best friends pretty much come from their 8th grade class at Florida School, which has been central school except for now, except for Andrew, he's not here. So I'm going to close on that personal note that this has all been a joy. And I hope, I applaud Mayor and Council for starting this volunteer program. You don't have to be knowledgeable about a lot of stuff. You can learn. If you see something, if you have something you really love and you don't see it here, start it. It doesn't take much. Find another person who likes it. The library can always use help. The school system can always help find. Okay, I'll get it. The schools can always make use of parents in a lot of ways. That's starting with fundraising, reading to children, reading with children, Boy Scouts, any of the sports activities. Dana's here. Dana can tell you that getting reps and stuff is a really important job. So there's no lowly job in volunteering. It's never too early to be a Boy Scout or a Girl Scout and help the community. And it's never too late. You can share your talent with students and help them with their career training. So I'm going to cart on that. I know most of you volunteer, and I hope that you will encourage other people to commend Mayor and Council for this action.
We're going to continue with the meeting. There is another presentation, but for right now, we're going to take... as I said before, we do have 3 presentations. This one is, we have Mark Kranz from the Swim Pool Commission stopping by. Mark, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Mark Kranz. I'm the second Park Place in town. I've been the chairperson of the Middlesex Pool Commission for quite a few years now. And I guess this is all predicated on updating. The commission got together, updated some things in the ordinance because it was like 100 years old. So we figured it was time to make some changes. So which we presented to you guys. And most of the changes are minor. They're just ages, membership descriptions. We put in our most current fees in there because the fees in the ordinance were old. Some date changes and a few small vocabulary corrections. Outside of that, no major changes. We also went through the rules of the pool, which are not part of the ordinance, and made some big changes in the rules because we were having some issues with guests and parties, birthday parties and stuff like that, so we need to change some of our rules at the pool for those things to update them and correct some things that were happening. Just some, in April, when our manager goes in to open the pool, we always hold our breath because we never know what's going to break over the winter, and we just pray that it's nothing major. Fortunately, this year it wasn't. We had some boiler problems, but outside of that, everything seems to be working great. The covers are off the pools. Most of the pools are filled up, and now just running on the filters to bring them up to where they need to be for our opening on Memorial Day weekend. We will be having an open house on May 18th, which we instituted a couple of years ago. We have quite a few people that come by to walk around the property and ask questions and things like that. Hopefully fill out some membership forms. So that'll be May 18th. We're well into our membership drive for residents. Residents memberships start on March 1st, and residents get a small discount until April 15th, which just passed. And then out-of-town or non-resident memberships start on May 1st. And last year we instituted, there was never a discount for our out-of-town members, and last year we instituted a small discount from May 1st to May 15th for our non-residents, just like our residents get. The residents get a month and a half. Non-residents get roughly 2 weeks. Our membership's down a little bit as far as revenue from last year, but with respect to 2022 and 2021, we're right on target with those 2 years, so I'm not overly concerned. We should have a big rush on May 1st when non-resident, that first week or so. We have a lot of members come in. Quite a few years ago, we instituted memberships are able to be purchased online through credit cards. It used to be just checks, which was really not, as times are changing now, more people are using credit cards, and now the majority of our memberships are bought through online using the credit card. We still have quite a few checks that come in, but most of our memberships now are through credit cards. This year we're going to institute a point of sale at the snack bar, which we've only ever taken cash. This year we're going to expand our credit card usage so people can use credit cards at the snack bar. So we're excited about that. We think that will bring in more business. Our snack bar does pretty good, but I think that'll bring in even more business where people will be able to use credit cards instead of carry cash, because that's just the way society is going right now. Outside of that, it's pretty much status quo. We're looking forward to Memorial Day weekend. We're open for weekends until school lets out the end of June. And then that weekend, when school lets out, we're open every day from noon until 8 p.m. until Labor Day. So
Great.
That's pretty much it. Our staff pretty much hired. Jim, our manager, hires staff for the front desk, for the snack bar, and lifeguards, which are always in short supply. Fortunately, this year we got plenty of lifeguards, and our staff seems to be totally full at this point.
Excellent. You guys have any questions? Nope, everyone's good? Thank you, Mark.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
All right. Okay, moving on, we have a couple of appointments here.
Okay, we have the appointment of Todd Nicolay to the Joint Lands Board as a Class 4 member.
We need a motion.
Motion.
Motion? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, very good. Second one?
We have the appointment of Spencer Durkin as alternate 1 and Rich John Kelly as alternate 2 to the Joint Lands Board.
Motion.
Second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, very good. We have 2 proclamations this month. All right. We have, oops, you going to read it? Cut me a break? Okay. Sure. All right. Yes. What, the second one?
The sexual harassment.
Want me to read it, Mayor?
Sure.
Sexual Harassment, Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Whereas Sexual Assault Awareness Month and the observance of Denim Day draw attention to the fact that sexual violence, including sexual assault, sexual harassment, and sexual abuse is widespread, and whereas sexual violence has mental and physical health implications for survivors, as well as public health consequences for the Middlesex Borough community, and whereas statistics indicate that every 68 seconds, someone is sexually assaulted in the USA, and every 9 minutes, the victim is a child. And whereas violence and abuse decrease in supportive and connected communities that promote respect, health, safety, and well-being for everyone. And whereas by building connected communities, we ensure the spaces in which we live, learn, work, and play are inclusive and equitable so that sexual violence can be stopped. And whereas anti-violence and preventative programs of Middlesex County, including the Center for Empowerment and Sexual Violence Prevention Coalition, promote challenging norms and practices linked to a culture of violence, increasing all forms of equity and prioritizing the health and well-being of survivors and the rest of the community. And whereas the New Jersey Sex Crimes Officers Association and the Middlesex County Sex Crimes Liaison Officers, in connection with the Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office and Middlesex Borough Police Department, are dedicated to ensuring the effective investigation and prosecution of sex crimes through interagency collaboration and training. And whereas with commitment, we can reduce sexual violence in Middlesex Borough by raising awareness, cultivating healthy individuals, relationships, spaces, and communities, challenging all forms of oppression, increasing all forms of equity, supporting survivors, and holding perpetrators of violence accountable. And whereas throughout the month of April, Middlesex Borough supports the efforts of national, state, and local partners, as well as encourages every citizen to understand the realities and root causes of sexual violence, support survivors in culturally specific ways, and join prevention efforts. Now, therefore, I, Jack Nikolajczyk, Mayor of the Borough of Middlesex, along with the members of the governing body, do hereby proclaim April 2024 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month and promote the observation of Denim Day on Wednesday, April 24th, 2024, joining advocates and support service programs in urging all community members to help end sexual violence.
All right, so moved. Thank you. Okay, we also have a second proclamation for Arbor Day. Kevin?
Yeah, proclamation, Arbor Day 2024. Whereas in 1949, the legislature set aside the last Friday of April as Arbor Day to promote the planting of trees and to encourage the protection of our forests from fires and pests that destroy the beauty and usefulness of our woodlands. And whereas half of New Jersey's total land area is forested or tree covered, and whereas trees play an important role in the ecosystem in which we live, and trees reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil caused by wind and water, clean the air we breathe and the water we drink, produce oxygen, provide habitat for birds and wildlife, and reduce heating and cooling costs by moderating temperatures. And whereas trees are renewable resource, giving us paper for fine literature, wood for homes, fuel for fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees provide increased property value, enhanced economic viability, and pleasing aesthetic qualities along streets and properties in municipalities. And whereas trees planted in yards and farms, in schoolyards and parks, and along streets and highways creates an enduring heritage for generations that follow. And now, therefore, I, Jack Nikolajczyk, Mayor of Borough of Middlesex, do hereby proclaim April 26, 2024 as Arbor Day in the community of Middlesex, and urge all citizens to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands to the support of our borough's urban forestry program. And further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden hearts and promote the well-being of present and future generations.
Thank you. Okay, there are no ordinance for introduction. There are no ordinance for public hearing and final adoption. We are up to the adoption of the minutes.
We have the approval for April 9th, 2024 regular and executive meeting minutes.
Motion. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the mayor's report. All right, well, we started with the pillars of Middlesex. I have to say, it was an excellent choice. I think for the first ones, when I sit out here and I look around, I see a whole, like Sheila said, a whole bunch of other pillars that are sitting out there. Couldn't be more prouder. I mean, I think it was awesome. I'm glad we're back on track for that. I have a couple of things that I do want to talk about tonight. The first one is I got a letter from the Department of Community Affairs, State of New Jersey, on the Resilient Communities Program application. Thank you for your interest in the Resilient Communities Program. After conducting a thorough evaluation, we regret to inform you that your proposed project could not be selected due to program funding availability. I mean, that's a little kick in the teeth, guys, for all the stuff that everyone's been talking about. However, a second round of the Resilient Communities Program is anticipated for later in 2024. This presents another opportunity to apply and make a valuable contribution to building resilient communities. Obviously, we're gonna pitch it again. It's a shame. I feel bad that it didn't happen. We tried our best. We tried getting some officials a little higher in the food chain than us. We just have to keep plugging away at it. However, on the weather-related side, it seems that the weather's getting better, and I'm looking right at Mr. Vidal right there. It would seem to me that if we keep up with the decent weather within the next couple of weeks, well, that's a plus, because that's a way better than the August that we were originally bantering about. So I'll be glad to see that happening. Thank you. All right. One other thing I have here is that we actually got back the year-ended report of audit for our financial statements, okay? And usually we just gloss through this real quick, but I think it's important to just get down there, right to the end. Schedule of findings and question costs for the year ended December 31st, 2023. All right? Type of audit report issued, unmodified. That means what you see is what you get. No games. The numbers are just there. Internal control over financial reporting. Material weaknesses identified? No, none. Significant deficiencies that are not considered to be material weaknesses? No, none. Non-compliance material to the financial statements to be noted during the audit? No, none. State programs. Internal control over major state programs. Material weaknesses identified during the audit? No, none. Significant deficiencies identified that are not considered to be material weaknesses? No, none. Type of auditor's report issued on compliance for major state programs? Unmodified. Any audit findings disclosed that are required to be reported in accordance with the New Jersey OMB circular? None. No. All right, let's go around. Internal, this is where they start talking about findings. Internal control findings, none reported. Compliance findings, none reported. Findings and question costs relative to major state programs. State programs, none reported. All right? Oops. You know what? One last little piece I have to say. Their recommendations, all right? That there be a signed contract approving a third-party provider. That's ADP. I deal with ADP at work. Good luck trying to get them to sign something once you're already signed up and trying to get a renewal out of them. All right, that all deposits be made within 48 hours as required by the state statute. That we're going to improve on that a little bit. It does come down to a manpower issue and the timing of the checks coming in. I mean, all I want to say about this, and this is on page 61 of a public document, we're in really good shape. And Caroline, you deserve a lot of kudos for that, because this is just as clean gets. Because they got to talk about something. And if this is what they're talking about for recommendations, you go home and sleep good tonight. Nothing to worry about. All right? Let me just see, what else did I have? That was it. Moving on. Michael?
Yep. Thank you, Mayor. A couple things I wanted to, again, congratulate. I know they left John and Sheila Furman as their first pillars. Thank you for Michael for sourcing that crystal out. designing the crystal. Thank you, Michael and Linda, for coordinating the presentation. Thank you, Linda, for the flowers. The table looks great. I'd leave that cover on the table. Thank you, Mark, for coming in tonight. Thank you for representing the Swim Pool Commission and your presentation. My biggest thank you yet, along with my deepest appreciation while doing this, goes to Barbara Benson as well as Lee Polandel for delivering a fantastic volunteer fair. It was our first one on Saturday. For the last 3 months, Barbara has led the overall coordination. She organized it. It was ultimately a flawless execution of our first ever volunteer fair. At a total of 20 organizations, 19 participated, and they exhibited at the fair. These organizations included, but aren't limited to, the American Red Cross, our American Legion Post 306, Middlesex County came, borough departments participated as well, including the police department, the fire department, rescue squad, OEM, library, recreation was there, and DPW. All of our borough boards, committees, and commissions, and we have quite a few, all participated as well. The rescue squad, and some good numbers here from Barbara, secured 11 new applications, which is unbelievable for the rescue squad, sorely needed. OEM secured 5 new applications, and the fire department secured 4 new applications. Over 50 existing volunteers exhibited at their respective tables, pridefully engaging with prospective new volunteers, handing out informational materials, and even connecting with the other organizations that were there when downtime allowed. Roughly 100 plus residents attended, including 56 which actually signed in with an email address. We had many more, but just some didn't opt in for the email. Some additional thank yous, they go out to Jay Amin. Jay is the owner of the Middlesex Dunkin' Donuts next to Marlborough Middle School. He donated lots of bagels and donuts for the breakfast. John Ellery, owner of Ellery's Neighborhood Pub, who donated lots of pizzas for lunch. So we had breakfast and lunch, all donated. Many from the governing body also volunteered and helped throughout the entire event. A special thank you to Chrissy George, who I saw, she's here somewhere, our library director. Thank you, Chrissy. Chrissy works seamlessly with Barbara, I know you always do, and Lee, but really helped in planning the event. It was in the community room at the library, and everything looked great, really good. One last thank you again to Barbara and Lee. They couldn't be here. They're at the carnival tonight volunteering for OEM, but they really truly made this event possible. Thanks to Lenny and his DPW team. Victor Crowell Park Annex looks fantastic. Really, really looks good. If you haven't seen it yet, please drive by. Our new Environmental Commission is off to a great start, and I know Greg and Claire are here. Thank you. I attended along with Councilman Sino. They had their first event, a tree giveaway. Mm-hmm. It was on Saturday the 13th. The mayor was there as well, which was well organized and very well attended by our residents for a first event. The tree seedlings were free, and we had, I think Claire had like 2 sheets of residents that signed in. A lot of seedlings went, and it was a very cold day on the 13th. So congratulations to the commission, and thank you, Bobby, who's also on the commission. Please support our fire department and their carnival. I'm sure Kevin's going to touch on this all of this week, which it ends Saturday night. It looks like a great week. First one in years for the fire department. I attended last night. It was busy. Everything looked great. I told Lenny the food was really good, probably better than last year. I don't know. It just seems like it was better. And the weather was really good, really good. So I am, to the mayor's point, very disappointed that we lost out on that grant money. And for those that don't know, it's for the Heather Bank restabilization. And we put a lot of time and effort into it, so it was a big, big disappointment. And I didn't know this, it's in the letter, but apparently projects catering to low to moderate income individuals were prioritized, and I guess that was a parameter, and I'm assuming that's why we applied for $5 million, we got 0. So, but we're gonna apply it again to the mayor's point. And for recreation, along with our American Legion Post 306, They're planning our annual Memorial Day Parade. It's on the 27th, that's Monday, rain or shine. Spread the word. It starts at 10 a.m. in Victor Crowell, and that's the ceremony, and then the parade gets going at 10:45. Hot dogs and birch beer will be served as always at the Legion. And Save the Date Community Day isn't far away. It's 6 weeks away, Saturday, June the 8th. And that's 2 to 7 p.m. in Mountain View Park. So, that's it, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Carnes?
Hey, thank you, Mayor. I heard the volunteer fest was amazing. I was down with the Girl Scouts group cleaning up Point Pleasant for an event, so I was glad to hear that this came out, and obviously I wish I could have been there for our volunteers. They're amazing, as Mr. Furman mentioned before. You're all pillars in your own way to do this. Before I came in, I just had for the chairman of the administration report, I had a quick conversation with Councilman DeCino and Councilman Doty about how to move forward. I'm still learning how to act in this role. I did write a little something. There's been a little back and forth about the understanding of our financial councilmatic committee. I would like to just express my professional disappointment regarding the Vincent perception, the recent actions, the involvement with this committee. As someone who recently attended a budgeting class, I've been increasingly aware of the importance of a financial oversight from our new form of government, despite the lack of my experience on a financial subcommittee or councilmatic committee. It has come to my attention that I was excluded from all types of meetings regarding this, whether it was on this board or caucus related. Despite being appointed as a councilmatic committee member. This exclusion left me feeling marginalized, disconnected from the decision-making process, which is disappointing not only for me personally, but for the voters and the future municipal leaders who deserve transparency, inclusion, governance, and of course, the most important, the public trust. Had I been included in these discussions, I would have raised my concerns about my suitability for this finance subcommittee and the eventual changing of the councilmatic committee. I would have suggested Councilman Doty or Councilman Rex, both who have possessed more experience than me in these finance-related matters. Moving forward, I hope that this body, this board of directors, would be more transparent practices within our governing processes to ensure all voices are heard and valued. I remain committed to serving our community to the best of my abilities, contributing positively to our shared goals. I did reach out to the finance chair. His response was a little disappointing to hear. As a stay-at-home parent, I also work 65-hour-plus weeks as well. I'm constantly tired raising 2-3 kids and then co-parenting with the fourth. I don't really think that's a valid excuse for you to tell me, and let me quote your response to me. This will be your first and only response to me. I don't understand how that's fair or appropriate, definitely when we're supposed to have equal roles on the finance committee. Other than that, I do believe this is not an overall opinion of you being a bad leader. I do not think that's true. I just think there needs to be more communication, even if it's with people you do not like. And after there was a comment of not only being mentioned I was dead to you, this is more evidence of that type of behavior towards me. And I've also been invited to all types of meetings in the past. So what made this year different? I'm not too sure. I would like to thank the mayor and council for listening to our volunteers about the Culture and Arts Committee. I know, again, I seem to stumble around a lot, right? I am very appreciative of every volunteer, including our library director and everybody else who makes efforts to make our community better. And if I, as a councilman, had made that harder for you to do, I apologize from the bottom of my heart. That was never my intent. I always do my best to get clear, transparent, honest integrity filled in this role when our country is desperately in the need of to uphold the highest integrity of standard. There's 6 of us representing 14,000. I think everything should be out in the public, and the more I learn, the more I understand. Things should be held on workshops. The public should be aware, and that's forever be my stance until the day I die. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councilman DeCino.
Hey, just a couple things. As far as J-Love, our April 24th meeting has been canceled. Our next meeting is May 8th. As far as environmental, we had our first meeting last week, and it's a wonderful group, and I look forward to things moving forward with this. As far as the April 13th tree giveaway, as Mike said, there were 40 plus signed in, 150 trees given away. We also collected the eclipse glasses over and stuff. There's another event on May 19th. It's Greenbrook Cleanup. It will be in 4 locations: Greenbrook Regional Center, McCoy Park, Mountain View Park, and Greenbrook Park. You can register at lowerraritanwatershed.org. Our next meeting is May 21st at 7 p.m. The mayor gave me a letter I want to read. This is for the Associated New Jersey Environmental Committees. Dear Mayor Mikolajczyk and Borough Council members, I am writing to express my appreciation and gratitude for the recent reestablishment of the Middlesex Borough Environmental Commission. I applaud the borough for adding this important advisory body as it demonstrates commitment to the environment, stewardship, and community involvement. This addition will strengthen the borough's ability to make well-informed decisions concerning the environment. These efforts don't go unnoticed as they serve as an example to other municipalities striving for positive environmental change. In today's world, where environmental issues are a paramount concern, the work and dedication of the Environmental Commission is not only crucial, but becomes a positive force for Middlesex Borough residents. This is from Jennifer Coffey, the Executive Director.
Claire, that's the one you have a copy of already.
Yeah. We have 2 members here from Environmental. Thank you for coming. Claire is, we need more of Claire and everyone else. Claire is, she's wonderful.
How many trees are left?
Well, it's about 150 for that giveaway, and then I have 304 for the tree nursery.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's all right. They're going to go. Lenny will be busy.
As far as DPW, the woodwork was fixed at the annex, the cupola, and Lenny advised me the painting will start next week. The mayor touched on Heather Lane. I spoke to Lenny today. He's planning on hopefully being there next week, so as long as a contractor is available for those things. He also received 25 shade trees that will be planted around town. Big trees, not just Stevens, right? Yeah. And also we talked about the hydro rake. Lenny's open for, if we want to meet there one day, I know a lot of you guys work during the day. I don't know how we can do it if you want to do it but he'll do a demonstration and we can all take a little ride if we want. But he's open to that. So we tried to go today, but he was busy with the engineer, so I didn't get out today.
Just send an invite and whoever comes, comes.
And that's all I have, Mayor.
All right, thanks. Councilman Doty.
Yeah, a few things, Mayor. We'll start with shade tree. They met and they are working on the model tree replacement ordinance. The DEP, the state of New Jersey, is requiring verbiage and specific things in it, so they're working on getting it incorporated. I believe the attorney's office is looking it over to see how they can put it in. That was the first thing. Spring planning, he's been working with Lenny on that. Val about planning for them this spring. There's an Arbor Day event, the Arbor Day tree, a pink flower weeping cherry tree will be planted in front of Borough Hall. I think there's one already on the one end and they're putting it on the other. You got 2 shakes over there, I guess I got it right. As far as they received some J-Love stuff that they're working on, 3 different properties. And also, while they're looking at the ordinance, they want to go over some of the enforcement to include some contractors because they're taking borough trees down and just the, and I believe they're going to get that over to the attorney also to see if he can incorporate it in there because they want to go after the contractors as well as people because contractors should know better because they work here all the time. Also, the mayor just gave me something from the Arbor Day Foundation. We are, on behalf of the Arbor Day Foundation, I'm thrilled to congratulate Middlesex on earning recognition as a 2023 Tree City USA. Residents of Middlesex should be proud to live in a community that makes the planting and care of trees a priority. Founded in 1976, Tree City USA is a partnership between the Arbor Day Foundation, the U.S. Forest Service, and the National Association of State Foresters. Middlesex is part of an incredible network of more than 3,600 Tree City USA communities nationwide with a combined population of 155 million. That's the short version of it since I just got it. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay, we're going to move on to, let's go to the police department. For March, there was 1,978 calls for service, 15 adult arrests, They slowed down in motor vehicle summonses down to 430. A little less than a month before, that was 589. Radar summonses were up, 54. Motor vehicle crashes they had were 24. I don't think for March, for the Detective Bureau, the big ones they're investigating one's theft and 2 shoplifting. I'm sure they have many more ongoing that we don't know about currently. That's our police department for March. Moving on, we'll go on to the fire department. They had 38 total calls. They had alarm system activation, no fire, unintentional. They had 11 calls for that. 3 motor vehicle accidents, a cooking fire, a building fire. Some of their highlights that the chief wanted me to talk about were on March 5th, Green Avenue reported smoke in their room and possible electrical fire. They wound up finding an electrical outlet that was burned. They secured it, and they were told to contact an electrician. The 8th, they were an oven fire on Cook Avenue. Okay, the oven was secured and disconnected for the homeowner, and they were advised to replace it. Voorhees Avenue, a working fire in a second-floor bedroom. It was under control in 30 minutes. They remained on scene for a while to assist the fire marshal, Middlesex County Fire Marshal's office. March 24th, Boundbrook asked for their assistance on a 20-yard dumpster fire near the front of a home. And they responded with Greenbrook, and they were both on for an hour and a half. And then they had department members attended 2 different training sessions this month. One was about bloodborne pathogens, and the other one was CPR, refresher. We'll move on to, and also don't forget, this week is the carnival. Please go down and support them. We're finally having a week where it looks like the weather is going to help them. The last few years especially, they've been suffering. It seems like they picked the week somehow that it always rains. So please go down there. I'm sure you can still buy, I think the wristbands are still for sale and all that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the next band day's Thursday.
Yeah, so if you know a fireman and want to buy the band, buy it. Okay. Rescue Squad. I spoke to them on Saturday at the Volunteerism Day. 11 applications. The people that they had there manning that table did a fantastic job. I want to give them kudos. The young people that were there, they had people's ear and were really talking to them about the rescue squad. And I believe in my heart that's why they got the 11 applications they got, because they really sold the rescue squad to those people. So I give them a lot of credit. Hopefully it turns into members. Never know. Last thing is court. Total ticket, this is for March. Total tickets issued, 437 tickets. A 26% decrease from February. 50 parking violations, 387 moving violations, 13 DWIs. 5 criminal complaints. They had total criminal complaints were 5. 7 local ordinance violations, 3 zoning. New business, they had 4 court sessions, 238 defendants, 129 cases were deposed during court, 5 DWIs were disposed of. Total assets in fines, $41,480.72, and the borough portion that we will receive this month is $21,773.06. That's all I have, Mayor.
That's it? What you do in your spare time?
Everybody sent the reports at the same time.
That's all right. Nothing wrong with that. Councilman Quinn.
Okay, so I only have a very brief report today. We had a Board of Health meeting. The county did not come. They sent Harris, who couldn't answer anybody's questions on any of the reports that were submitted, so everything got tabled to the next meeting. There is some good news, though. We're having a conference call with another vendor tomorrow at 3 o'clock. So maybe not the next council meeting, but the one after, I should have something to report there.
All right, good.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Councilman Rex?
No, Mayor, I don't have anything to report. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Administrator?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council, members of the public, good evening. The successful sale of the old fire headquarters property on Grove Avenue is moving ahead, with the purchaser having made the down payment on the property last week. Staff is ready to work on the next sale of surplus property, and we're recommending the vacant lot on Wilton Avenue. It's lot 27 in block 274, and the lot measures 50 by 100 feet. The property is located in the IND industrial zone. So I was wondering if I could get a sense of that council if you want to move forward with.
That's the 1 second from the corner, right?
Correct. It's one in from the corner.
Yeah.
In South Avenue. So if everyone's comfortable with that, we'll keep the momentum going here.
I'm all right with it.
I
You
just
guys are
wanted
good?
to say, I mentioned earlier how what a great success the volunteer fair was on Saturday. I really enjoyed it. I was so impressed with all the tables and all the volunteers. And I also wanted to not only thank our library director, Chrissy George, for hosting the event in the library and community room, but thank you for the sneak preview of the local history room, which I'm very excited about. Lots of good things happening. On the agenda for the May 14th council meeting coming up, we have scheduled the police awards and the hearing for the 2024 municipal budget. At the request of the tax collector, we will also be introducing an ordinance to amend section 332-43 of Sewer Ordinance 2017-22 to reduce the wastewater discharge subject to a service charge. That would be from 120,000 gallons to 100,000 gallons. Probably more information than you were expecting, but that's coming up. And the council will be also considering an ordinance to vacate a portion of Factory Lane. Pipeline Realty received preliminary and final site plan approval on September 25th of 2019 to tear down and reconstruct a warehouse. At that time, it was determined that a portion of Factory Way was of no further use to the public and could be vacated. That way the borough wouldn't have to maintain it any longer. The Joint Land Use Board concluded there was no need for the borough to maintain this section of the road, but once the vacation is to be completed, an emergency access and utility easement, which has already been approved by the council, would be recorded, so there'd still be some public and emergency access to the site. As mentioned by Councilman Messino, the Department of Public Works, DPW, continues to be really busy with early spring beautification and maintenance projects throughout Middlesex. New trees are being planted and general cleanup of the parks and other public sites is underway. At Victor Crowell Park, a contractor has made repairs to the trim of the annex building, and soon it will be painted. DPW has completed work on the site, such as smoothing out the gravel parking area, marking parking spaces, and painting the guardrails. And we're really excited that a new tree farm has been developed on Rock Lane in partnership with the Environmental Commission. The Environmental Commission has really hit the ground running. So, you may recall that I presented a draft request for proposal, an RFP, to the Parks Improvement Committee for their review. I hope to complete the RFP this week. As a reminder, this RFP is for selecting professional planning and engineering firms to work with the community on a master plan for Victor Crowell Park and blending the annex site with the rest of the park. Borough Clerk Linda Chismar has worked very hard on the next issue of the borough's newsletter. The May 1st edition of the newsletter will be posted on the municipal website, and printed copies will be available at Borough Hall, the Recreation and Senior Center, and the library. Council resolutions on the agenda this evening include the hiring of a substitute fire inspector, the authorization of a memorandum of agreement with Middlesex County regarding the installation of video surveillance cameras at major entrances to the borough, and a resolution to acknowledge the completion and review of the borough's annual audit, which the mayor talked about earlier. Just a reminder to council members, actually two reminders. Please complete your cyber training as soon as possible. Those emails that you keep getting to remind you, that's what that's about. If you have any questions, just let me know. We'll get you the assistance you need. And please, if you haven't already, finish your state financial disclosure for 2024. That's really important. So, the clerk or myself, we could be of any assistance, please let us know. Regarding the Boundbrook Road Route 28 Streetscape Beautification Project, I am happy to report that the wiring for the light fixtures has just about been completed by Public Service. They were out there today, as a matter of fact, I think finishing up. We hope that the fixtures will be installed shortly. There is repair that's needed for one of the bases, the footings for one of the fixtures. Apparently a vehicle ran over it, damaged the anchor bolts, so we're staying on it. We're gonna drag this one over the finish line. So, topics for discussion during the agenda workshop session this evening involve the erosion of properties in the Heather Lane area, revisions to the swim pool ordinance, and a personal matter involving the chief financial officer. And in an executive session this evening, we'll be discussing a public safety and code enforcement item, potential litigation with the Middlesex County Municipal Joint Insurance Fund, the Public Works Department union contract amendment to the contract, and real estate located at 1190 Mountain Avenue, the Presbyterian Church. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Okay, moving on. We're going to have the privilege of the floor at this time. Please come on up. If you're coming up, state your name and address.
John Madden, 39 Ramsey Road, Middlesex. Couple things. First of all, at the volunteer fair, that was a fabulous success. It was very dynamic, and I'm glad a lot of people showed up. Secondly, I want to thank Carolyn, working along with the auditors. Perfect job. I love, there's nothing to worry about. I know we're in for a tough year, but job well done. Also, I want to thank Chief Geist and the Middlesex Police Department that we're recognized, Middlesex Borough, as the 20 safest towns in the state of New Jersey.
You missed that.
That's a wonderful accomplishment. Wonderful.
He's shaking his head. He did the wrong thing.
I forgot it. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. It was a big report, sorry.
Okay, couple things. I want to thank the governing body for bringing the J-Love to a full slate again. We all know it's a real important outfit, and we have to make sure that the volunteers are working because the training is extensive and people do not have a planning background or a land use background. My one question is, I guess we're still waiting for the DEP report from the phase 2 of the environmental study for the church. Has that come in yet? Do we know?
No.
It's been, what, 2.5 years? We paid for that already?
Correct, we have not received it.
Wow. Do you think it's actually a viable report? I mean, we've been waiting a long
Reach
time.
out to them to see if DEP give us...
I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just kind of surprised that,
Right.
it would be good if we can get that before the final vote is on for the response. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dave Polakevich, before you guys said a couple of quick questions. I saw on the agenda on the packet, looking at one of my favorite things, the bill list. I saw, and I thought it said, I don't have it in front of me, there's a legal bill on there for $14,000. Is that correct?
I don't know exactly what ours was last month.
No, this is, I guess,
Do you have the-
before that, so it's discussing the ones that were 10 years. And there's one on tonight's packet, I believe it says $14,000. And it says January, and I thought the one we talked about that may be a mistake, but the one we talked about a while ago said January. So I was just wondering what's going on.
I don't know. I don't prepare the bill.
What is the bill?
Yeah, but I don't prepare the bill. I don't know what's on this bill.
You don't.
My bills are out there for everyone to see. So if you want to
No, I
ask me,
understand.
if you want to ask specific questions, I don't know. I don't prepare the bill. So I don't know what that includes. There are other attorneys that work for the town. I mean, probably most of it's me, but
I don't know. A couple of meetings ago.
yeah. So it is me. So shock. I don't know what that means. I did learn after our last chat, Dave, that there are 6 tax bills that you referenced that in your post, and those are significant matters. So we have had very little tax work in the last 5 years. So part of
Well,
it.
I was just, that was going to be another one of my questions, the commercial appeals. I know we talked 2 weeks ago or whenever it was, but there were 6 commercial appeals. Is that the extent of it, or any more than those 6? Because that's a possible reimbursement that the taxpayers have to make if they get a settlement.
It's true, and as of now, there could be more. I think the deadline is passed, but there could be more. And, there could be more in years to come.
Okay, all right, so Chris doesn't have any understanding or doesn't know why that bill is on the list for $14,000. Does anybody know why it's on there for $14,000 and why it says January when the previous bill said January?
Carolyn, I always hate to put you on the spot, could it be February?
Well, it's a mixture of months. Sometimes, normally when we get bills from Savile Shop, every month there are probably between 8 and 10 different items going on. So if you see that the purchase order and the check is $14,000, that's not one invoice. That could be 8 to 10 different invoices that apply to different matters.
Right.
Some of them are litigation matters, some of them are the general services bill, some of them are the tax bills. So they all get paid at once, they get them at once.
No, I understand that. But
Sometimes when we get like the February bill, there might be a stray January in there.
right, there might be one matter that will get
Right.
There was,
Yeah.
Dave, there was time last year where just that there was some stuff left over from October. And for whatever reason, it could have been escrow matters, could have been any,
Yeah.
any number of reasons. For my part, I'm happy to provide you whatever I submitted to Carolyn.
I don't have any problem with that last bill that I looked at was very detailed.
Yeah.
I'm just, again, when, like if a plumber sends me a bill for January for, $200, and then they send me another bill, and the next bill says January $100, I'm thinking, didn't I just pay the $200?
Yeah, I think probably there's some February.
Yeah, there's probably something that overlaps.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, there might be one that didn't make it in January and that's in February.
Okay, but you don't know why it's 14 on top of 10 a few weeks ago.
What I say, I don't prepare the bill list, and Carolyn raised an excellent point. I hate to put her on the spot, but there are 8 to 10.
Right.
We typically, how I do it typically is, you've seen my bills. There's a general account that is the interactions, my time here, the interactions on a daily basis. Then I split out matters that are more voluminous, right? Some of the stuff you see on executive. I break those out so that the public can see the linear line on complicated matters, right? Then you have escrow bills, right? The stuff that the borough doesn't pay directly, but Carolyn may pay me because she's the custodian of funds. There could be some of that in there. I'm trying to think of other ways we do it. It's out there. I mean, it could be that there could be a log jam. I mean, escrows take a while. They have to be reviewed, in a different set of principles. So I would guess it's some combination of that. I hate, again, to put Caroline on the spot, but I'm sure she could break it down to you in better detail than I could, because I don't prepare the bill list, I prepare the bill. So,
Right, and obviously, all the bills, like I said, they are all scanned and attached to the purchase order, so they are all available.
All right, no, I understand that. My last question is for the mayor. I also look on one of the state websites, and all the firms that do business, or most of them anyway, they submit these, pay-to-play reports. Mr. Corsini's firm does. I think it said last year you guys made $106,000 or something working in this town. I think that was the figure that was on it for last year.
That sounds right.
Yeah,
we were under budget.
All right, so $106,000. If these two bills, as we're assuming, are separate things, 10,000 and now 14.
That's probably right now. You're saying,
right?
Yeah.
Regardless of whether it was January or February, it could overlap. But they're two separate bills. They total $24,000 or $25,000 together. You're about, after two bills, you're at a quarter of last year's legal expense.
Yeah, it might make
concerned about that.
Well,
go on. No, he got you, Jeff.
yeah, well, Dave, you have to understand, if you're doing nothing, you incur no bills. We're trying to buy properties, we're trying to negotiate for other properties, we're selling other properties, we got all kinds of stuff going on internally, we're busy. And typically if you look at the way the bills would run, you probably see that they ebb and flow. During the summer when no one's around and nothing's going on, they're probably very low. Right now, yeah, they're high. And there's probably a good reason for it. I'm sure there's a good reason for it. I think some of it is our own self-generated, and I think some of it is because we have a lot of other stuff going on. I mean, with the buildings and all the rest of it.
One last question. This arises from something that Mr. Corsini just said. If you were under budget last year, legal budget, you apparently budgeted X amount, and you only spent less than X, right?
This one's coming to Carolyn, but yeah, go on. She knows it's coming her way.
I don't know what the number is, but you spent less than X.
What happened to the money?
What happened to the rest of the money?
Yeah.
Sure. So the way municipal budgeting works is there are always 2 years of budgets open. So right now, technically, the 2023 budget is still open, and the 2024 budget is open. At the end of 2024, when we roll to 25, the 23 budget closes, and any funds that are not used from the 23 budget go into the fund balance, which is the surplus.
Okay, does that mean that if this year's budget does edge, if it ends up being a little bit over the budget amount, you can use the leftover from last year to pay it?
No, it stays open because we can get bills from 2023 that we didn't receive in 2023.
Okay.
So, tomorrow a company might say, hey, we found an invoice you didn't pay that was issued done in November, and we can charge that for 23 budget.
But you can't use it for anything incurred the following calendar.
Correct, you don't use it for
Right.
24 cents.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. Okay, anybody else? Okay, motion to close?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, Linda, take a deep breath.
Resolution 128, 2024, acceptance of standing reports. Resolution 129, 2024, the governing body has complied with the NJAC 5:30-6.5 and has reviewed the annual audit. Resolution 130, 2024, authorizing the 2024 municipal budget to be read by title only. Resolution 131, 2024, authorizing the tax collector to issue tax title lien redemptions on Block 333.01, Lot 2. Resolution 132, 2024, acknowledging the change in status for certain properties under the Senior Citizens Disabled Persons Tax Deductions. Resolution 133, 2024, approval to surplus the 2006 Toro line painter 1200. Resolution 134, 2024, authorizing the tax collector to issue tax title lien redemptions on Block 262, Lot 1.01, C0026. Resolution 135, 2024, hiring of Carl W. McAleer as a substitute fire subcode inspector for the Borough of Middlesex. Resolution 136, 2024, authorizing the mayor to execute the memorandum of agreement by and between the County of Middlesex, Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office, and the Borough of Middlesex regarding installation and responsibilities associated with automated license plate recognition devices and/or video surveillance cameras owned by the County of Middlesex.
Okay, does anyone want to split any of these items out? I'd like to split out number 9, because I'd just like to make a comment on it.
Okay. Good motion.
Okay, we have a motion for the rest? Second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? Okay, call the roll.
Council President Carnahan?
Yes.
Councilman Corns?
Yes.
Councilman DeCino?
Yes.
Councilman Doty?
Yes.
Councilman Quinn?
Yes.
Councilman Rex?
Yes.
Okay. Resolution 136, please.
Okay, I read it over. So,
Okay, I'd like a motion for Resolution 136.
Motion.
Second.
Second. The only reason I want to pull this out is because I don't know if you people realize what this is. This is about the scanners that the police department is looking for. That's the license plate scanners. They catch people coming in, going out. You're going to start to hear more and more about these things because I believe there was a crime that was just solved specifically because of these. I believe it was down in Monmouth that there was a crime. They were able to find out that they were able to track a car that went out. They were able to track it when it went into another town, and it was they figured it out using the time and where it went. And this is going to be a big win for Middlesex. This is really the cutting edge technology, and it's really going to help. It's really going to help our police force do a much better job, and could potentially save them tons of man hours that they could be used to do other important duties that they have around here. That's all I
I
have.
also have a question on that, Mayor.
Sure.
How many, Matt? 1 or 2? Just 1?
The County of Middlesex wants to install 2 and 4,
Yeah.
and then there's an additional areas that we looked at the town if they're looking to deconflict and give us a final price quote. They're willing to buy all the equipment and pay for the first 2 years of service, and then the borough will be responsible for 3, 4, and 5, I believe. But we're still waiting for those final calls.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, they're maintenance contracts for the last 3 years.
That's correct.
Correct. And this is, it collaborates with other municipalities that have them. There's a good,
The entire town of Middlesex is installing throughout their municipalities and jurisdictions. Huge win. All right, any other items? Okay, call the roll, please.
Council President Conhan?
Yes.
Councilman Carnes?
Yes.
Councilman Decino?
Yes.
Councilman Doty?
Yes.
Councilman Quinn?
Yes.
Councilman Rex?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to the non-consent.
We have Resolution 137, 2024, payroll claims.
Motion?
Motion.
Second? All right, any discussion?
Nope.
Okay, call the roll, please.
Council President Conhan?
Yes.
Councilman Carnes?
Abstain.
Councilman Decino?
Yes.
Councilman Doty?
Yes.
Councilman Quinn?
Yes.
Councilman Rex?
Yes.
Okay, we're moving into the agenda workshop here. Let's start with item number 1, Heather Lane property erosion. At this point, unfortunately, we heard the bad news that we had nothing for our resiliency grant despite everyone's efforts. And we're hoping for some good weather because, Lenny, I know that's been sitting over your head for a while, and we'd like to get that underway and get it at least stabilized before we move on.
100%. I actually visited the site before the meeting and took a look at the other side. It actually seems pretty dry. So I reached out to the contractor. I'm actually going to try to move some of the staging material that we need tomorrow. So that's really going to be my deciding factor.
Well, we're getting closer.
Yeah. So we're there, and especially the next 10 to 14 days, they're looking like no chance of participation. So
Okay, thank you.
no problem.
All right, swim pool ordinance revisions. Okay, we kind of beat those around a little bit before. As far as this item, does anyone have any discussion on this at this point, or are we just going to continue to move through and wait for the ordinance to come through?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to introduce the ordinance at the next meeting?
Next.
All right, we'll introduce the ordinance at the next meeting, Mark. We'll move on for that. Okay, personnel. All right, I'm going to pass these out. All right, for the guys up here. Here you go. Pass those going that way. This item here is, there was basically basically an email trail where one came from the Councilman Carnes. Our CFO made a response. The councilman decided to challenge Ms. Benson on this. He asked for an executive session over this. As is her right, she was able to ask for this to be done in public, which is what we're going to do. And I'll start this off by basically I'm going to read the email that brought this about, and then we can go from there. All right. This is coming from Councilman Carnes' email. I also heard that you told Mayor that you did extend me budget meetings. We both know this is not true. I hope communication there was misinterpreted, thank you. This extends to last year when I asked you to attend a budget meeting with the council, president and CFO, and you decided not to attend, which is the meeting where the council president and CFO misled me and Councilman Quinn over the digitalization of the JLUB archives. Okay, that was Councilman Carnes' statement. This is the CFO's response. This is 100% false. At no point in time during the meeting between myself, Councilman Carnes, and the council president did anyone bring up anything regarding the digitization of JLUB files. And Councilman Quinn has never once accepted any invitation to any budget meeting, operating or capital, that I sent to him. After the 2023 operating budget had already been adopted, and the day before the 2023 capital budget was about to be adopted, I became aware that Councilman Quinn and former interim administrator Joe Costa had discussed this digitization process. Not once had Joe Costa mentioned anything about this to me, not in any budget discussions or even in general discussions. Once I became aware of the desire for this project, I worked with the purchasing agent to find a company to handle this, and then at the end of 2023, when we were legally allowed to make budget transfers, I took the necessary steps to transfer funds so that this process could begin. Budget worksheets are sent to all department heads for both operating and capital, and no one from construction or zoning/code ever included the request for record digitalization on the submission of any of their worksheets. Here's a text from the email that was forwarded to me the first time I became aware that there had been discussions about this project. On June 26, 2023 at 8:53 p.m., Martin Quinn wrote, "Guys, someone dropped the ball on this one in the capital budget. I was assured that the monies would be included in this line item for the construction department by the previous administrator when we passed the regular budget at a council meeting. This is to digitalize records. I've been told that it's in there by the mayor and can't find it anywhere. Here is the corporation's website, blah, 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 www.laserfiche.com. That was from Caroline. That was her email. The response was sent by Jeremiah Carnes, Thursday, 4/18, 10:31 a.m. Call me a liar again, Ms. Benson. I would like to review over this comment from the CFO as well. There needs to be an executive session over this, sent from my iPhone." So that's where we're at. So, Jeremiah?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. So my statement for that is based ridiculously on this is 100% false. Professional as it may be, like it's a nice thing, but that's saying there's no honesty in this. When ultimately, when we had our meeting that I was referring to, we sat right here in the meeting, right here. I sat facing here, and Council President and Ms. Benson invited. There was a phone call with the administrator who was brand new at the time and had a whole bunch of responsibilities going on. So at that time, I was like, cool, I understand that. No need for you to come. I agreed to this. This was also like the process was, Councilman Quinn was out of country. He extended, like, he said, yeah, we've been talking to Joe Costa about this. And if I'm correct, and I didn't want to waste our borough's time.
That actually happened.
If I'm correct, I believe that if we ask if we search the emails between the construction office and Joe Costa through an Oprah, we will find that this actually was discussed. Not only was it discussed in person, right here in this courtroom, which I wish was recorded. I really, truly wish everything was recorded, with everything to do with it, because there would be no disputing this. But there was like, I think something that was like a little more conspicuous is like when I was like seeking thing is, we discovered that the YouTube videos for those meetings are mysteriously missing from our video on our YouTube. Just those meetings, just those meetings. So that makes one's mind wander, right? I don't think her skills at all. I think she's amazing. Like, there's a lot of things, a lot of compliments, and I lack the skills to understand that. So I trust my colleagues. So the council president made a comment like, yeah, okay, this is right, but I'm really, truly concerned, and I actually mentioned to Mr. Corsini, we should do an internal investigation, which she said would cost about $20,000 into this, because this is crazy. Like, there should not be a borough employee who's able to say this is 100% false when it's not, and to the point to where it got put to resolution, right, because of the confusion. We had the changing of an administrator, right, an interim borough administrator who personally said a few things, which I'm not sure if I'm allowed, Mr. Corsini, or about Mr. Costa, and interaction with the business interim administrator.
If you interacted with Joe Costa, you can, those conversations are things you can talk about. If you interact, I mean, things you observed or things you heard, yeah, sure.
Yeah, so Mr. Costa not only accused our library director of forgery, but he also accused Mr. Fidella of forgery to multiple people. And during this response, when there was an egregious email that came out, and I believe, I forgot who mentioned it in the public meeting, but there was a topic of egregious email, and it just kind of got swept under the rug real fast, right? And this came to where I was accused of spying in a public building with my children in tow. So this came from the CFO, from the Mayor Madden's email, which is still on here, right? Like, I still have it, accusing me of...
Just give me 1 second now. How does that fit into this?
Well, it's 100% false. This all has to do with Laserfiche and the connection with Mr. Costa. There's a little bit of a story to it. So, I mean, this
You're
is why...
explaining your part of the story.
Yeah, because it's saying that nobody's ever discussed Laserfiche. Like, that's not true.
And that's true. At the meeting that we had on April 6th of 2023, that was myself, Councilman Carnes, and Councilman Conhan, we did not discuss this Laserfiche program at all. I do not dispute that Councilman Quinn probably had many conversations with Joe.
Is it appropriate to be interrupted like this in the middle of my...
Okay, 1 second.
All right, so hold on. I mean, it may be, whoever has the floor, you should rule.
All right, wait.
So please, guys.
Hang on 1 second. You will get a chance.
So I think that Mayor, you chair the meeting, you decide who has the
All
floor
right.
right now.
Right now, let him
I
finish.
think that Karen, you can recognize Karen when an appropriate time.
Yep.
So.
Go ahead, Jeremiah. Finish up.
So again, like this is the treatment that I'm consistently been with the CFO, like calling liars, saying I'm lying when I'm not, because there's evidence that I believe can be brought to light with the council. Now it's like whether I handle a scenario right or not. I mean, this is what committees are for, council, to come in, to have a discussion, to have some type of meeting. But I mean, then why did it go to? In my opinion, then why do you feel is it appropriate for me to engage with Ms. Benson to let her talk?
No.
Or no?
No, not at this point.
Okay. So it's like, my question was more, if there's this deep deception that's willing to be put to bend untruths to elected council, to elected officials, why would I even do this? What do I have to gain as an elected official to sit here and talk about this for somebody who's so well connected and has deep friendships with the council president? Like, there could have been a side talk. I have no idea. But my mind goes crazy.
Yeah, but
You can nod and do the same thing. I don't think it was fair of a lot of things.
yeah, but when I sit here and I read through this, I mean, basically,
This is just one email, Mayor. I mean, I have a lot of emails, and it was like
But let's stick with this one because
so
this.
Can we get an Oprah report between the construction office and figure out like if there were emails?
You can Oprah whatever you want and bring it from there. But
so what happens if it proves that this discussion did happen?
The bottom line is, Jeremiah, when I read through this, is that you have, you mentioned the mayor in here. Well, he's not here anymore. He's done. Then we also have mentioned the, sorry, John. Don't take it the wrong way, John. Then you also have an internet business administrator. He's not here either. I mean, no one at this point that I see when I read this is disputing the fact that for whatever reason it got missed off of the budget, the capital budget. But once we were made aware of it, we did what we had to do to fix it. I mean, that's what I'm reading out here. No one tried to be deceptive or dark or any of that nonsense. They just wanted to make sure that this thing was here. And, you know, at the end of the day, you know, Martin followed up to his credit, said, hey, I don't see this. Then they look at it and say, hey, you're right, it's not there. The driving document for any accountant, and that is the worksheets. And if the budget worksheets do not come in with it now, they could have 700 conversations. The budget worksheet is what drives it.
Okay,
and
so can I just interject something here real quick?
Sure.
All right, so my quote from this email right here on January 26, 2023 at 8:53 p.m. Guys, somebody dropped the ball. I sent this after the council meeting.
Correct.
Prior to the council meeting at 8 in the morning, I got an email from Ms. Benson about how we need to pass the capital budget anyway. Don't hold it up, just pass it. That email I have, and I can show you. So this isn't the first she ever heard of it.
Is it my turn?
All right, hang on one second. Yes, at this point, yes. Answer his question.
Mr. Mayor, I think Carolyn's going to...
Carolyn, you should probably sit in the old chair there.
Absolutely.
Okay. So in the email that we're discussing now, I took, the problem I had was with the statement that I misled you, because we did not discuss it at that meeting, which was April 6th, 2023. The email you're referring to is June 26th, 2023, 2.5 months later.
This one is June, yes.
Yes, 2.5 months later. That was the first time that I became aware of this project.
Give me 1 second.
I mean, I mean, to be quite honest, we could split hairs over when these specific emails come in. Hang on one second, please, Caroline, sorry. But, I mean, at the end of the day, the way I see this is that, yes, someone dropped the ball, it got missed, it got put back in, but I guess the real question at this point is was there any intent to do anything wrong? I would say no.
Right.
It's a mistake.
Yeah.
For sure, but it's not someone going out of their way to do something that's harmful to the town.
Right. And all these documents were sent for review. The original operating budget was sent on March 31st. Excuse me. Can I get a drink of water?
Yeah, sure. Here, I got one here, Yeah, it could be.
The original email for the operating budget was sent on March 31st, 2023, and that was about a 70-page attachment with an itemization. That was the email that you responded to, Councilman Carnes, that set up the meeting. That budget did not have anything in it for this digitization, because I was not aware of the project yet at that time. That budget was adopted by the 6 members of the council. Then on June 12th, I sent out the 16-page attachment of the capital budget that showed an analysis of all the items that were requested, denied, and approved. I asked that any questions or comments regarding this draft be submitted to me by the end of that week, as I needed to send this to the bond council to have the ordinance drafted. I did not receive any questions or comments from any members of the governing body. By the time I got the email forwarded to me that Councilman Quinn had sent to the administrator on June 26th, we were set to do the ordinance the very next night at the council meeting. At that point, I did respond to that email and say I would appreciate if we moved forward with this budget, because if we did not, we were then going to go to council meetings only once a month, which means it was going to set back the capital budget by 6 weeks, and at that time we were dealing with a pressing issue where we wanted to get some funds available to work on the HVAC of the police department, because there was a 40-week lead time in ordering the system. So we were hoping we'd get the HVAC done by this summer. If we pushed it back 6 weeks, that wasn't even going to be an option. That was the point when I explained that we could take other measures to take care of this project. So to say that there's no transparency, that there's no way to know what's in the budget, that I'm misleading you, all the documentation is attached to all the emails. The documentation did not include this appropriation for this project because I was not aware of this project until June 26th. So to keep making accusations about misleading and deception implies intent on my part to have wrongdoing. And what purpose would that serve for me to do that?
Right? Am I good, man?
You have more to say, Carolyn, or are you good?
I have more to say, but
All right. Go ahead, Jeremiah.
So you're saying, I just want to be clear, so you're saying that when we had our meeting right here before the capital budget, that we personally had zero discussion about laserfiche and printing?
That's correct.
Okay. That's it, because I just know that's not true.
Well, I was in the same meeting, and I agree. We never spoke about laserfiche at all in that meeting, ever.
That's fine. Me and your relationship is not good, and honesty is not there.
That's an unfair statement, Jeremiah. You can't just say that.
Just like all your statements.
Watch your mouth.
Just like all your statements.
Listen, that's not right, Jeremiah. You
But
don't
it's
say,
horrible.
you're saying what you believe, he's saying what he believes.
There is a
Two of us-
precedent here for constantly being accused of being liars and
Yeah.
deceiving him, and it's getting to the point where it's just the entire staff at this point.
Including the
The
governing.
entire
Including
staff,
the
now that's
government.
not even a false statement, because there's other staff members that can't do it. So it's like, I don't know, I'm not too sure how, I do apologize, that was a little rude, so that's, the reaction.
Little
Which one?
You even referred to other events. You even referred to
Well,
other
we do, I
events.
mean, no, this is good. I'm not scared, I'm not feeling bad, I'm not doing anything, because I know from the bottom of my heart, if we took liar test, like we took it in my brain or a polygraph, I know I would pass it. So it's like, in my head, I feel like I'm saying right things. If I'm not, it's not my intent. But it's true that that me and the council president relationship is not healthy. That's not a false statement. That's not a, whoa, maybe how I said it got some objectives, he's well-liked. Does a lot of good work. I understand why he would be well-liked in a lot of ways. These are what I'm calling the paper cut thing. I know we had this discussion. I'm wondering if we should get a discussion between either Joe Costa or Oprah or something to figure out what was happening between there, because I know that we discussed it.
And I'm not debating that fact. I don't know what
But who else
took place.
am I accusing
All right,
of lying?
one at a
That's why
time.
I'm confused, because I was just told it's the entire staff. And it's like, okay, well, let's go to the entire staff then.
You, just in your discussion before, you
But it's
named
the entire
multiple
staff.
All right, hold.
members
That's what I'm
of
trying to
the
figure
staff
out.
that you were claiming deceptive or lied to you. You just said that in this conversation.
I do feel like I have been deceived by a couple of people. And this right here, saying that it's 100% lie, I feel like that's not the truth.
Jeremiah, that's splitting hairs, Jeremiah. I mean, she's basically saying this is not correct.
Yeah, I said that one statement that you made that I misled you in that meeting was 100% false. And I stand behind that because we did not discuss it at that meeting. You also, the way you phrased it, that Councilman Quinn was at that meeting. He was not at that meeting.
I wasn't even in the country.
Yeah,
Correct. And I have
then
another email I sent you referencing the fact that you were not in the country, saying if you wanted to discuss when you got back.
All
It
right.
also comes from the thing for saying it's 100% false, right? And I know that being new, I forget to document sometimes, which is definitely going to fail in some things. But I do believe in a very open and transparent thing. And again, I'm not saying that you're bad at the budget. That's not at all what I am saying. I think by vote of yes and my actions and that and supporting you in the past has been that. But I know for a fact when we sat here, we talked about it. Because then I asked, if it's not going to be on this budget, is it going to be on the capital budget? But then you and the council president then, which I really wish I never said no to Mr. Laplace's being there. Because if it would have affected our taxpaying, it's like, Jeremiah, this isn't going to work. We can't afford this. We can't do this. Let's just knock it off for now. I would have been like, cool. I don't understand that.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, it's good.
I'm just trying to understand where, I was asked to come to a meeting and I called in. Was this when I was done
When you
at
first
the
came
airport
in.
in North Carolina last? I'm trying to remember, why would I not be at this meeting if I was asked to come to a meeting? I'm totally drawing a blank.
It was like your second week here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were trying to
And
get
Mr.
caught up
Costa,
and
my
everything.
predecessor.
And it was, my recollection of that was that it was sent in like an optional matter if
Okay.
you'd like to attend. And you and I had just met the day before to go over the whole budget. And you had other things that you needed to get up to speed on. So it was just the three of us at that meeting. And again, just going back about what discussions were had about this, even in the emails I believe are emails that we have from Councilman Quinn, he references that he spoke to Joe Costa about this, that he spoke to the mayor about this.
I've
He
been
never
speaking
said,
to Joe Costa since 22 about it.
right,
Yeah.
you and I never spoke about that.
No,
I was
no.
never CC'd on any of the emails or any of those discussions. The first time I became aware of this was on June 26th, which is very clear in the email response that I sent back to Councilman Quinn, the administrator, and a couple other council people were on that as well.
Well, I just want to, may I?
Yeah.
I mean, I was just, again, told that I'm being a deceptive nature, but my job as a council person is to protect the integrity of certain things. A lot of people in here, I don't think really understand ADHD and the capabilities that come with the ADA compliancy of what I am, right? And I require to ask questions 3, 4, 5, 6 times. I remember when me and Mr. Bedell were getting along in a healthy post, the same type of thing, where it's like, I feel something that I view, and that was Mr. Costa, saying that you were capable of forgery. That really impacted my mentality on a borough employee. Now, I'm willing to work past all types of things. So if that's what you're referring to about, like the health, I'm not too sure.
I'm a little lost where you're going with all this, honestly.
Well, she just said that half the staff just accused me of like being deceptive and accused me of lying, so I figured it was appropriate.
No, I was saying that you said that about the staff, that you named a staff member
But
saying
that's
that we
false.
lied.
That you said the whole entire staff. I'm
You said it
confused.
earlier here.
I don't think she said that.
Yeah, it's
I
not
mean,
that.
listen, I think we're getting caught up here in the hyperbole to say something is 100% false. That's just, a
Call
ridiculous.
someone a liar, which
It's not calling someone a liar.
Which for ADA compliancy, let's be honest, like that bothers me. It set me off. Like, why are you going to call me a liar about something?
Then Jeremiah, you should provide us all with a rule book of what you need to be working
Our
with, because
code.
I don't know.
Our code book.
Not our code
All
book.
of
I'm
my
just saying,
complaints-
what does,
All
if
of my
you're,
complaints are based on there are based on the code of conduct, which I'm trying to figure out how that's supposed to work. When I, as an elected official, I think it should be investigated. I truly think this should be investigated, and I think it's worth the value of our money to look into this and look into Oprah Force and to look into
there's nothing, what's to investigate? There's,
If
you
Trust
know
in
for
local
sure,
government.
huh?
the trust in local government.
If I provided you all of the budget documents as attachments to the email I sent you, and they were not in any of those budget documents, how was I being deceptive? How could I have misled you?
Because we had a personal conversation right here, and it's a lesson learned. Trust me, I learned a hard lesson right here in this room without having a recorder or without having something. It was a hard lesson.
All right, we're not going to beat this around the block 700 times.
Mr. Mayor, can I give a little perspective on this? I have the privilege of working with the department heads on a daily basis, and I've been impressed in the almost year and a half that I've been here, of their integrity and their honesty, at least in my interaction with them. So I think that needs to be said. Because I'm a little concerned about how the reputations of our department heads might be harmed from what we discussed this evening, when they've shown me nothing but honesty and integrity. And I just wanted to say that for the record. The second thing is, I don't understand why this council is not thrilled that despite some misunderstanding or something falling through the cracks last year as we were changing administrators and going to change, the digitizing of the records is underway.
Right.
So that's the good news.
I'm just saying this, what triggered me is being called a liar when I'm not. And it's like, that was unnecessary, it's unprofessional.
But no one called you a liar. No one called you a liar.
I don't know what
Just give me
I'm
1
saying.
second.
This is
Sorry.
100% false. But does that mean I'm being 100% honest? I'm a truth teller? Like, this isn't saying that I'm telling the truth. This phrase is what
You're
really...
reading into something that you're going a little bit over the top, Jeremiah, and I'll tell you why. Because it's 100% fault, because maybe the understanding is that it's a misunderstanding. There's a big difference between lying and misunderstanding.
But I know,
lying denotes intent.
I know what happened.
Well, no one else does, because we don't have a record of it, and no
Mayor,
one's here.
I know what happened here too. It wasn't said. And I don't forget a lot, as the administrator likes to say to me. So I know for a fact it was not discussed at that table, period. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, at this
you
point,
can my integrity on the
listen,
line.
I'm not surprised.
At this point, we can go around the block 900 times at this point. My question is, and let me just ask, do I ask someone if we need to continue with this? Oh, okay, sure. Councilman Carr, what action are you looking for?
Just the honesty of the thing. Now, when it comes to the work, it's nobody's saying anything about that. I'm saying whether the discussion of the miscommunication, and again, I believe there's a subcommittee or financial committee that will prevent stuff like this. So my intent is to prevent any future issues of transparency at all, to create feelings like this that we have right now, to stop that from ever happening again. So if once I leave or whatever, if I stay or I'm gone, there's going to be other people sitting here. And so are they going to be able to have a discussion with a CFO and a council president, and then have both of them sit in front of friends and people who they well know from their hard work? It's not like these are like horrible people. They're not. But there are issues that are being oppressed that I feel as a councilman in my dual responsibility I have to protect as well, because it's the people. So I learned my lesson.
You're talking about the people, but we're all sitting here, and I know you think that we're all friends, we're all buddy-buddy, but when you sit on this chair, you got to look at things objectively and with the facts. And the facts in this case here seems that there's a misunderstanding, and I asked you what action you want to take. You're saying you're looking for truth. I mean, this is a council that tries to be nothing but the truth, and also to be very transparent and open. I mean, at this point, I don't know what else to do. We give information to everybody that asks. We don't go looking to give stuff away, but if someone asks us a direct question, we usually try and give a direct answer.
Okay. So what is the purpose of a finance councilmanic committee then?
The purpose of the finance committee is to look over the budget when they get it, and if they have questions, bring them forth.
So what's the difference between the May 26th, which we just got, and the purpose of having our financial management committee? So this is where my head's going and saying...
Yeah, but what does... We want to answer those questions for you, but what does it have to do with this? Right now, with Caroline.
In the future, I guess, for the finance, as a department and CFO, do you feel that a fully attended 3-councilmatic committee would prevent anything like this from ever happening again?
The councilmatic committee could meet amongst themselves if they choose to. The councilmatic committee could request to meet with me if they choose to. I would do that if they wanted to.
Do you
When
feel
I-
that would
when
prevent my question? Do you think that would help from something like this ever happening again?
I don't know if it would, because we already had 2 other people at that meeting, and you basically say that we're both lying about it. So if there were 4 people at the meeting, I'm not sure how that would necessarily make a difference.
It would be 2 other people say, Jeremiah, you're inappropriate, vote to get me out, and that would have been done.
What if all those people's stories stayed the same and you did not remember?
Then we'd be in a reverse scenario, because both of your stories are opposite of mine. And it's like, I know what I talked to you about, and I believe that if we did a,
All right.
over-report. Oh, I
Thank you,
apologize.
thank you.
Sorry.
Now, we're going in circles here. So at this point, does anyone feel the need for any further action here? No? No? No?
I'm good.
Huh, Harvey?
I'm okay.
No? Jeremiah? I mean,
I'm not even sure how to handle it. I'm just disappointed about it.
I mean, as far as like a lot of this other stuff, I mean, the only thing I could tell you as far as being put in the light and being transparent is ask questions. She's there. Carolyn's there. She's never turned down a request for information. I know at this point, Michael's asked you several times, even as recent as the other day, because we want to make sure that you're in the loop. If you got to be told 5 times, we'll tell you the same answer 5 times. But we just want to make sure
Mayor,
we're not holding any information
that
back,
statement,
Jeremiah.
If we wanted to be in there, the finance subcommittee would have met, the council president would have, the chairman of the finance committee, whoever it may have been, would have assigned things, and there would have been communication. Any multi-million-dollar organization, what's the point of a subcommittee or a councilmatic committee then? Like, what's the point of it? What's the point of the people being able to understand things when it doesn't feel like what you're saying is true?
So, hang
I don't
on.
feel like what you're saying is accurate.
I disagree, and I'll tell you why. First of all, if the rest of the councilmatic committee understands what's in the budget, and they're okay with it, and they don't need a meeting, and you don't say anything, say, hey, I got questions, I'm not asked, I'm just going to sit there and wait for someone to contact me. No one's going to call you.
Form of government. So my whole point of confusion is not only did we change the form of government,
Jeremiah,
there's
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes, sir.
We really didn't change form of government, we changed the committee structure.
Structure, sorry. I'm
Your
saying
form of
the wrong
government, the
thing.
borough is the way, I don't
Yeah.
want people thinking we're a township all of a sudden, although John Madden may love that, but.
Right. But at the same time, Jeremiah, there's been plenty of opportunities in emails and questions asked to say, do you have any questions? Do you understand it? Do you know what's in the budget? Do you have, I mean...
No, understanding that, I think this is getting confused. I understand the budget. I am asking, what is the point of a finance subcommittee for a multi-million-dollar corporation if we're just going to treat everybody as they just got it on March 26th? Like, how did this get formed? Who's in charge of that? Like, who's supposed to take the analytic list? Who's supposed to take care of the thing like that?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying,
Yeah,
but you got to, no, but
but
I'm going to say the same thing I said the last 2 times. The budget process started with, we said we were going to introduce the budget. The first phase of the budget was the business administrator and the CFO were going to have departmental meetings, meet all these guys, go through the budget. Then they were going to make some cuts or adjustments as they see fit to try and give us as near to a complete budget as they could. At that point, they were going to release it to the council, and the council was going to have their chance. That was, I think, the 23rd or the 26th of March, and you had from the 26th of March to April 3rd, I believe, or 5th, or whatever that Friday was, to have your questions, just ask all your questions, because after that, we were going to introduce the budget. And as a matter of fact, even though the budget is introduced, to date, it's still not voted on, and it's still open.
That's very true. Yeah, you can still go to Carolyn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Anyone
as far as
could.
transparency
Yeah, nothing's
goes to
done.
the public, that's why we have a public hearing during the meeting for the adoption of the budget.
I'm going to do
The public.
over-reports, because I'm actually remembering the construction office sending a letter asking Mr. Costa about Laserfish, and asking about it. So
Jeremiah, Carolyn, sorry. At this point,
that's what this whole
Jeremiah,
discussion is about, is Laserfish. I'm confused. What's that have? This whole point of discussion is Laserfish and this, so
But it's
all I'm
not-
saying is if the email does do come back and it's, okay, yeah, we did talk about it, then what happens? Then I'm not crazy and there's facts. So this is why I was like,
I'm not
I didn't want to get
disputing that
confused
other
with it.
people voted.
she's not disputing that other people talked about it, but the bottom line is, what she's presented as a budget worksheet is the Bible.
Wait a minute. So you're saying that people did talk about
They may
this?
have.
I'm,
I believe that
I
they
don't
did.
even-
Councilman Quinn says that he spoke to Joe Costa about it numerous times. Sure, but that doesn't mean anyone told me about it.
see, this upsets me because I had a business interim administrator tell me so many things about people when they were talking, asking questions. And these things, like, I brought it up to my colleagues and stuff, and it kind of got, like, pushed under. I don't know. I mean, it's...
But that's what I'm saying. They should have put it on the budget worksheets that get submitted as part of the process. Those worksheets are in the packet that I sent out to the council as a review of the budget. They were not on there.
I understand it, but this is what I'm saying, like, when I had it up here, I asked why it wasn't on there. Like, I asked why it wasn't there, but of course, you're going to tell everyone it said no, which is fine. But, that's what I'm going to figure out.
Why would I have sent an email in June that said this is the first time I'm hearing about this?
All right.
Budget, I mean, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure why you either don't remember or maybe it went over. I'm not too sure, but,
Okay.
yeah.
Listen, unless there's anything further, I mean, you could feel free to Oprah whatever it is that you feel that you got to Oprah. As far as this matter is concerned right now, we're done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Now we're going to move on. Privilege of the floor on agenda workshop items. All right. We need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Thanks, Carl.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Mr. Poliquin.
Dave Folkowitz, 240 Hazelwood.
That's a first.
You hit the nail on the head. 40 years of journalism. I've been covering municipal meetings all over the central Jersey area. I've never witnessed something like what I just witnessed. I don't know what the rest of the people here think. They all can have their own opinions. It's sad. It's sad.
I agree, Dave.
I agree.
And the good news, you came into office wanting transparency and wanting this. I think you've done a good job at making likely to build this tonight. I know you were probably irritated by some of my questions, but you've given me the information to ask those questions. I give you credit for that. Straighten this out, because it needs to be straightened out somehow. That's all I'm going to say.
Thank you. Anybody else?
So Mayor, I'm going to ask the permission to speak freely, if possible.
It's an open forum.
I have to agree with Jeremiah, there should be an investigation. So the investigation should be on the other hand. My name is Lenny from DPW Superintendent. I think there should be an investigation on everything that this individual has caused everybody, including myself. I've been targeted. Some members on council know exactly what's been going on. And now it went to the library director, and now it's going to town. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's good for us to work in this environment. I know I love my job. I've been here 25 years. But I just want to put that out there. I stand behind her, and I think there really should be an investigation in reference to that.
I'll support it.
All right.
I'll make the motion for the investigation.
I'm Chrissy George, I'm the library director, and I agree with everything Lenny said. I'm so disheartened that a council that promotes working together with all the departments, and that there's one individual here that will still go around and trash all the department heads. I'm corrupt. You're going to call a library director corrupt to one of her library employees? You've beyond damaged my reputation.
This is not accurate for...
Jeremiah, it's her turn to speak.
Yeah.
I'm so disappointed. I'm so disappointed.
Okay.
That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Am I allowed to respond at all or no?
No.
You just said yes. Like, I'm like literally...
Why don't you let them get the hand of it? You have to speak.
Jim Benson, 445 Harris Avenue. I'm the president of the library board, and I just want to support what Chrissy just said. I had a conversation with Mr. Carnes outside the library one night after a Parks Committee meeting where he admitted using the term corrupt, but said that he didn't mean it in the sense that it's being interpreted. But he did use that term. He did say she was corrupt. He said it in front of other library employees. And this has been going on for probably 2 years or more. It started with Lenny, that I know of. Then it went to Chrissy. Now it's gone to Carol, who you all know is my daughter. And somewhere along the lines, that stopped. And this should not take place in the town of Middlesex. That's all I have to say.
All right, thank you.
You can deny using the word corrupt, but you did, and you admitted to it.
No, I agree with you, Chief Vincent, and it's like, this is where it comes in. And I've had the conversation with the administrator too, and he got pretty upset with me, and he's like, that's not the right word. I said, well, what do you call it when there's not an understanding of what happened?
One more thing I'd like to add to that. We actually had a meeting with the administrator and borough attorney and Chrissy George and I over this situation. And we asked that it be brought back to the entire council and they made aware of it. And that did happen, as far as I know, in executive session. I don't know what action the council may have taken or did not take regarding Mr. Carnes. But some action should have been taken, and if it wasn't, that's why this problem is continuing. Until something is done, this is just going to go on and on.
Thank you.
Am I good?
All right, hang on one second. Anyone else?
Joe DeSenza, 321 Salvatore Avenue. I find it interesting that 3 people are at a meeting. 2 of them agree that nothing was said. The third one insists that he's right. I wonder if maybe he's a little delusional, or maybe a little bit confused about that meeting. Maybe it was another meeting where he thought it was the June meeting and not the March meeting that it was discussed at. The problem is he insists that he's right. And I think he should be reprimanded.
Does anyone else want to speak on this issue?
Okay, if there are no further comments, then anyone on the dais can claim a point of order under the rules of procedure and make whatever statement they want based on what was said.
Yes, that. I'll do that. So, I'm sorry I made you guys feel that way. I never was my intent to do it. I know you can laugh and mock and scoff all you want. That's fine. I'm used to that type of treatment. But there's also, I agree, I will actually set a motion for an investigation, not only into what Mr. Vidal said and our interaction of what caused this corruption cost, but also the same into there. So if we need to set a thing, I'm all game. Let's open up emails, personal emails, let's open it up and investigate it. Let's investigate everything. All 3 of them. I just had a couple people who are all, yeah.
I've got nothing high.
So, no, you really need to keep the comments from the floor.
Yeah, this is the lack of respect, the lack of opening that I have gotten in a lot of ways. And it's like the same comments, like the same type of thing. There's a deep friendship. I made this comment in the past meeting, like there's deep friendship in this community, which is beautiful, but I think it makes its way up here sometimes. And maybe I shouldn't have been part of this. Maybe there could have been a couple of things, but I think other people who are going to take this place are going to see it, and then it is what it is. It's not easy to be up here for that. But.
All right. Does anyone else have any other points of order? Anybody? Let's move on. All right. Linda, executive session.
Are we allowed to make that motion for the investigation? Is that, that's kind of like ignored?
All right, so is that your point of order?
Point of order.
So it is that your point of order is that you'd like your motion to be considered before this body.
All right.
Is that it?
Yeah, so my point of order is I would like a motion to take very seriously what all these employees just said and have it investigated in that way of what happened. I'm not too sure what it is to do, but I also want them to be happy and satisfied if they feel I'm that toxic. I'll remove myself from the scenario so they have a healthy work relationship.
So what do we do?
Like, I'm okay with that.
There a second?
I'll give him a second.
All right.
You probably could just do a roll call.
All right, roll call.
Council President Conhan?
Yes.
Councilman Carnes?
Yes.
Councilman DeCino?
Yes.
Councilman Doty?
Yes.
Councilman Quinn?
Yes.
And Councilman Rex?
Yes.
All right, there you go.
So, who's going to conduct the investigation?
I would imagine it has to go through you.
Okay, briefly, when we mentioned this before, you talked about special attorney or something like that.
I mean, you may have to appoint a special counsel. I might...
What is the cost to this? This is what stopped me in the past. Like, this has stopped me several times from looking into things. It's the cost that would be incurred by the borough to investigate totally.
Well,
Maybe I should have made comments before.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask a question?
Sure.
Point of order, I guess. I'm a little confused as to this investigation. As you know, in this form of government, council members are supposed to go to the administrator when they're communicating on a day-to-day basis, or, you know, if there's projects that they have in mind with department heads. So I don't understand now that the council's going to be investigating or looking into the conduct of the department heads, or the department head's opinion on one council member?
My understanding is that it's going to be
I
the
support
council.
Mr. Fidel's comment. Like, if he feels that it should be reversed, and that's...
Linda, why don't you read back,
then yes.
Linda, why don't you read back from the minutes the motion, what the motion was for?
Okay, that was just a point of order.
He made a motion, I made a motion, I mean, what are the minutes?
To investigate
Yeah.
himself.
I
basic-
all three of them I have.
Yeah.
I think that my biggest concern in terms of, as administrator, and heading up the staff here for the borough, is that I know that some of my department heads feel that they've been evaluated by council members and that they feel uncomfortable, or that it's been an unfair evaluation. But there's a problem here. You know, there's a power dynamic here where you are the policymakers, you're on the council. We need to protect our employees, and we need to protect their reputations and give them a fair say. I don't know if we're doing that tonight. I mean, I'm a little concerned.
Well,
about that.
I don't think this has anything to do with the employees. I mean, other than the fact that they're going to report on how they feel they've been treated.
Okay, so that's what we're...
That's my understanding.
I do think that Linda should read back, because that's where this is.
I want a clarification.
Doesn't have
That's what we're doing.
Great.
I mean, nothing, that's why I went to the Smallville list with Laser Beach. That's why I went to Joe Costa.
Right.
Didn't go directly to Carol.
Gave all three of them I have lack of respect.
Which was the...
I mean,
You know,
Carnes made a point of order, Carnes made a point of order, seconded by Quinn.
The employees.
All three, I had to investigate all three of them. Carnes asked for
That's
a
what he's
point of
asking
order,
to be investigated.
motion, and Quinn seconded it. For
So-
the investigation.
I mean, that's
We
my
investigate.
understanding. I may be wrong, but that's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the governing body should consult with the administrator as, I mean, that's the consensus of the governing body based on a motion and a second coming out of executive procedural motion. I mean, it would have to be refined a bit, I think, based on what Linda has
Yeah, I
repeated back.
listened to that, yeah.
I don't know what else. There was a motion and a second for something.
Motion
Yeah,
and
well,
second.
it was, you know, it was.
My understanding, and this is what my understanding is that it's an investigation into the fact that Jeremiah's been disrespectful to the employees.
In both ways. Like,
No, I don't know that was.
Now, that's what wasn't what said.
I don't know that was what was said. I thought this was an acquiescence to the, that's how I would rule from the chair. I think if you want to amend your motion, if you want to, what's that? Yeah, if you want to amend that motion, Jeremiah, to include more, you might want to do that and give people an opportunity.
what would make the people who made the claim, what would make you happy?
I think the damage
I mean, I have emails, so it's not like this is like baseless stuff. When an investigation comes, there are documents and emails that I'm willing to support. So
if I had to rule, you know, just the mayor ruling from the chair, I would say that what people thought they were voting on was an investigation into your interactions with the council.
With the,
I thought that that's what that was.
with the
No.
No, with the
department heads.
With the department heads. I don't view that.
Can I make a motion to disregard what I said, form a correct thing, and then we can get it together?
Jeremiah, I think it might be best if you...
I just want them to be happy.
Yeah, so I think it might be best if you digest perhaps what's been said here tonight. You certainly don't waive any rights. There's nothing prejudicial to you.
Mhm.
I think perhaps digest what you said, maybe perhaps rescind your motion with the full understanding that you can maybe go back and listen to the tape again, ponder it, the rest of the council can do the same, and then that motion will be ripe again in the next meeting.
The money hit me in my head again. I was like,
So-
how many lawyer fees?
So I really think that action might not necessarily be needed tonight, that reflection might be better, and you would not lose any right. So I think that perhaps there might be a motion just
So you don't wanna make-
rescind it. I think that you might not have understood exactly.
Do you want to make a motion to rescind?
Yeah.
To rescind everything, and then we'll figure out.
Non-prejudicially. So what that means, Jeremiah, is that it wouldn't be held against you going forward. You could make another motion, you could submit a request to the administrator, all those options would be open to you. I just think perhaps exactly what you're looking for should be a fine bit.
Pretty fine, okay, that would get it. All
So-
right, then
so you
I'll
wanna
make a motion
rescind?
to rescind my computer
Second?
statement, and I'll refine it and get it in.
All right, and take a roll call.
Can I?
Okay, hold on.
Sorry,
As a
my
matter of
last-
discussion.
My last question. Can they send what they're asking as well? Can the department, is that allowed? I mean, I'd also like to...
I think also, Jeremiah, if there's any material that anyone in this audience tonight thinks is, have order in the crowd, please. If there's any material I think that is necessary to be submitted, that could submit to the administrator.
All right.
And anyone can, anyone who's listening within the sound of my voice. So there's a motion and a second, Linda.
Motion
to
second.
rescind.
To rescind?
Yes.
Roll
I have
call.
the motion and listen to the tape.
Right.
That's what you had said.
No, I think just rescind
Rescind.
whatever.
Rescind,
yeah.
whatever that motion was, is
Okay,
gone.
Okay, got it. Okay.
We have a motion and a second. Now take
Got it.
roll
I
call.
got Corns Quinn. I got Council President Carnahan.
Yes.
Councilman Corns.
Yes.
Councilman Seaman.
Yes.
Councilman Doty.
Yes.
Councilman Quinn.
Yes.
And Councilman Rex.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on. All right, now we're going to go into executive session. So there's going to be a repeal resolution. There's going to be a 5-minute recess.